Hey guys, this is Dinosaur Drawer, and this is the second part on how to draw the Megalosaurus. So right now, and I guess my lead on my pencil, oh no it didn't, I just thought that the lead in my pencil um, ran out. Sorry, I couldn't find the right words. Okay, so now I'm gonna go into a little bit of detail, and I'm gonna use this muscle uh, thing to find where the muscles actually go, and I'm gonna draw in every muscle, every bit of muscle. So this goes until all the way over there, and then we have a muscle that goes like this, wraps around the stomach area, and then a lot of tiny muscles, smaller ones, and then we have a lot of muscles actually doing something like this. And this muscle goes like this, and then there are a couple of muscles going like this, but they are all underneath this muscle, and this is actually the leg muscle. So his leg muscle goes all the way up to that point, and then this muscle attaches to the knee. So this really is something different than most of my videos. And then this muscle actually goes over this muscle over here, but underneath this muscle. It goes like this, very long, big muscle. And there are three other muscles, but I'm just gonna draw two of them because I don't really have the space and the skill to still make it look still make it look realistic. And there is kind of an indentation in this muscle over here, something like that. And so later on I'm gonna go into the shadowing of those muscles, and there aren't really a lot of muscles over here, just a couple of indentations everywhere. So we're gonna draw the same thing as over here on this leg now, although it is supposed to look a little bit different, but I don't have a reference for what the inside of his leg looks like muscle wise, so I'm just gonna draw it almost exactly as this. And then this muscle over here, and then just a couple of indentations. Alright. And then we actually have a it goes a little bit of shadow over here, and also over here as well. And then a little bit over here as well. And also in the neck area we have this muscle over here, very big muscle. And then we have a muscle that goes like this, underneath this muscle. And then a muscle, well this one actually goes more like this, and then this muscle goes like this. Now for his hands, or his arms I mean, there's a very big muscle right here, and then there's a big muscle attached to that one over here, and maybe it's attached more like this, and then we have a muscle, this one, that goes like this, and we have two huge muscles over here as well. I'm gonna try to do the same over here, so one big muscle over there and one over here, and two, well, I kind of already messed it up, I guess. Okay, well, this is gonna be okay. So now for his tail, and we're already at 6 minutes, so this might get a 3-part video. Might get to be a 3-part video. Alright, so we have a muscle that goes like this. Over here. And then a lot of muscles that actually go like this. We're just gonna draw in the line where the muscles kind of separate from each other. So the reason why I'm trying to do it this way is because I might be able to get a more accurate muscle look on my dinosaur. And then these muscles just kind of go like this, and that's gonna be okay. So now I am at a point where I can get the detail in and make it look a little bit more accurate. So the fact is that everything on the underside of the dinosaur is going to be very dark because it's blocking, his body is blocking the sun from the light source is going to be above the animal in this drawing, so it blocks the sun from going underneath, so that means that there's going to be a lot of shadow. So I'm just gonna draw in the lines where the shadow is going to go. And over here as well. And those areas I'm gonna make very dark. Maybe a little bit of detail in it for the muscles that we took the time for to actually get into the drawing. And doing the same over here. Just leaving a couple of little highlights that will be gone eventually because of how dark the drawing is actually going to get. But I guess it's not gonna be so much of a problem. But yeah, I'm gonna continue on doing that later still. And also on his well, for example, there's gonna be a little bit of shadow over here, this area, and a lot of shadow on this area. And maybe not over here because this is actually protruding out a little bit. I'm just gonna draw those things in already. Let's get the knee in as well. And we can focus a little bit on doing the shadows right now. So, well, did I say the shadows? I meant the muscles. So what's happening here is that because the muscles are actually going outwards, they are leaving a little bit of shadow on the underside of the muscle itself. And that's exactly what I'm trying to draw right now. So in this case, it's leaving a shadow over here, and that shadow slowly gets lighter and lighter once you go up a little, because this area is catching the sun more than this area. That's actually quite simple if you think about it that way. And I'm doing the same thing over here, but I'm also paying attention to the lines of the muscle. So I have to draw it accurately. So there's gonna be a little less shadow on top of the dinosaur. So this dinosaur will be very muscular, as you can see. And it's basically, at this point, I'm basically gonna have to fill it up a little bit here and there. And also there's supposed to be one more line that goes like this, and then you have those muscles, those little muscles over here. But it doesn't really have to be as detailed at that area. And then a little bit of shadow over there. So normally you wouldn't see this much of his muscles, because there would still be a little bit of fat on top of those muscles. So you wouldn't really see too much of this. But still. And this muscle on his underbelly is, oh no, that's not a muscle. That's the line that I have to follow with putting in the shadow. So that's gonna mean that it's gonna get lighter and lighter from this point on, so you have to work it up a little bit. The shadows, if you're gonna have to go over shadows, those shadows will be you will have to draw in those shadows a little bit darker, but don't do it too dark. Alright, and now we can draw in the beginning of this muscle, basically. And I already started off too dark, because over there isn't supposed to be too much shadow, because the shadow will be over here at this area. And also over here. And this is just a indication of where the muscle lines go, kind of. And there's gonna be shadow over here, and a lot of wrinkles as well. He still has his skin. And this muscle was supposed to go like this, all the way up. And then this area also gets a little bit darker as well. And I believe this is turning out to look quite good, actually. Alright, so now I still have to put in a lot of shadow over here. This area. And means that these parts are going to be very dark. But you do need to leave a little bit of highlight up there. And the same over here. Make sure you still have your highlights, otherwise it will just look messy and it will just look kind of too dark. Making this a little bit darker. Okay, and now for these muscles, because everything over here is getting a little bit thinner, it also means that it will catch a little bit more shadow. Just a little bit. And then we can also focus on the shadow over here a little bit better. Something like this. And then you have to make sure that it's not just a couple of black lines. Make sure that it fades into the light as well. Alright, for this area, this is supposed to be very dark, but it's also very important to keep your highlights visible and stuff. So this is a lot better already. And there was supposed to be kind of an indentation over there, like so. A little bit of shadow over here, as well as over here. And then you just put in his toenails. And of course there's supposed to be a lot of shadow in between his toes, but also a lot of detail over there. Alright, and in my opinion his foot might actually be a little bit too dark, but I guess I'll just have to keep it this way. And on this side it can be made a little bit darker here and there. Because it's on the inside of the dinosaur and the shadow is exactly underneath it. And it's also underneath his belly, so it might actually be that there is a little bit more shadow visible over there. And again, make sure that you fade it in a little bit, so it's not just from white to extremely black just suddenly. And then the bones on top of the toes need to have a little bit of shadow as well, and in between the toes needs to be pretty dark as well. And then you can also put in the toenails. Alright, we are at 23 minutes and I truly hope that we will be able to finish this drawing before I hit 30 minutes, because I try to keep it as short as possible. Okay, now I also need to do something about his lower jaw. Which didn't have any shadow on it at all. But I want to make a jaw muscle over here, which would be clearly visible. And also I want to make the inside of his mouth very dark. Which makes it look a lot more realistic. And I'm seeing now that this muscle needs to have a little bit more shadow in it to make it look a little better. So yeah, it just looks like a very well, it looks like this dinosaur has been working out like hell and didn't have anything to eat in the progress. That's basically what this dinosaur looks like right now. So I'm just putting a couple of lines at all the little lines of the muscles so that we kind of still have a bit of contrast in his leg, in the area where it was a little bit too light. Okay, 25 minutes. I have to be quick now. We could put a little bit of lines over here to fade it in a little bit darker as well. Okay. So now for this area. Actually, this area needs to be very dark, so that's what I'm gonna do. A lot of shadow on the side of his tail. A lot, literally a lot. Oh, by the way, I still have to kind of finish his tongue. Something like that. Just a little bit of detail in there. And I believe that this might actually be the most accurate dinosaur drawing that I ever made. So that's quite possibly true. And I mean, the only thing that isn't completely right is the head, but that's just because I'm trying to get perspectives, my perspectives, a little bit better and stuff. And that's basically why I'm doing this. Well, why I'm doing this particular pose actually. I'm trying not to rush it because I know that if I rush it, I might actually ruin a little bit of the drawing. I mean, the quality will be a little bit lower, but I also need to be fast so I can finish the drawing in time. Alright, I guess I would say that this drawing is about finished right now. And I believe that it turned out pretty amazing in my opinion. And I might still get the pupil in. Alright. Yeah, I quite like how this drawing turned out. And maybe I'll try to, in the future, I'll try to make my dinosaur drawings a little bit more accurate with the muscles and everything, and try and get the same kind of look as this one, but I can never be sure of the outcome. So if you liked drawing, sorry, leave a like, comment below what you think about the video and the drawing in general, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss a single video. So this was Dinosaur Drawer, and goodbye.